Joining us now, retired U.S. Army four-star general. He's Fox News senior strategic analyst. He's General Jack Keane. We're delighted and honored to have you on the show, General. Your reaction to today's events?
Well, I take it at face value what the president is saying. Certainly, his national security team's assessment is that we may indeed be several days away from a potential invasion into Ukraine. At the same time, though, there clearly still is a diplomatic path that's open, and sometimes as you get down to the 11th hour when the pressure is the greatest, that's when the opportunities for significant concessions are also available, and Putin likely counting on that. But nonetheless, he certainly wants to get concessions if they're substantive, certainly, and he's able to get recognition of the two statelets that he has in Donbass and change the attitude of the government, which is very unlikely. By the way, I give enormous credit to Zelensky in the president of Ukraine and how tough he's been, keeping his population together, no mass exodus, no hoarding of food, no panic. And that way his economy has not collapsed, which was one of Putin's objectives. And while they're suffering, to be sure, that economy has not collapsed, nor has the government. So we're likely on the cusp of an invasion, Liz, based on the intelligence our government has.
Well, what could trigger it? The UK Prime Minister as well warning they're going to invade based on a false flag operation. Russian state media accused of false reporting of mass graves in Ukraine. I mean, Russia sees as a threat Ukraine and former Soviet satellite countries like Georgia joining NATO. They want all NATO out of the Caucasus region, Eastern Europe, and Central Asia. What could trigger an attack? What will it be?
Well, it's just Putin making up his mind that he's not going to get any more concessions, or he's not going to get any concessions that are meaningful to him, and he'll likely pull a trigger. I mean, that's kind of really where we are. I do give the administration significant credit for taking the classified information that they had about covert operations, the coup that was going against Zelensky in January, the phony video that they were having role-player actors were going to make, the false flag operations that have happened, and, of course, all the troop activity that Putin is doing, and we're reporting on it at some level of detail, despite the fact that he's denying he's doing it. That kind of exposure has somewhat put them on a defensive, that we've never seen the release of that much classified information by an administration. It's their form of information warfare, and I think it's excellent, and people will take a look at this for some time in terms of how meaningful was it really. So, yes, if this invasion does take place, as it seems and appears likely, I don't believe it's going to be an invasion to take charge of the entire country of Ukraine. Despite all the resources there, 150,000, he doesn't have the right kind of troops there to take over the entire country. It's most likely going to be something in the east where there's been 40-something exchanges of fire now, where the Russians are trying to prompt the Ukrainians in that eastern region where the separatists are facing off against the Ukraine military. And that may already have been the start of what Secretary Blinken is talking about, some pretext, because they have lobbed artillery, they've lobbed mortars, they're sniping, they're doing regular fire, trying to get the Ukraine military to respond. So that could be possibly the opening stages.
General, White House sent U.S. officials to Saudi Arabia, boost oil production. Republican senators, including Senator John Thune, says the White House is to blame for rising gas prices. It undercut the U.S. oil and gas boom here. Wall Street is talking about $7 a gallon for gas. Even President Obama took credit and touted the U.S. oil and gas boom in his State of the Union address in 2012, saying now the U.S. is moving toward energy independence. Now it's reversing. The White House press secretary said gas prices, high gas prices, are a price for defending democracy. But isn't the situation we find ourselves in with Russia completely the doing of this administration? Because now we see gas prices doubling since 2020. It's a 16% increase. Or no, actually, no, it's doubling. It's 94%. We haven't seen this in 16 years, the speed with gas prices are going up.
Well, certainly we've contributed to that. I mean, I think it was one of the first things the president did, I believe, Liz, is when he canceled the XL pipeline, which made no sense whatsoever, as the United States was becoming independent of oil and gas, certainly as commodities, and also the world's leading producer of both. Quite remarkable achievement for the United States, and yet here we are having problems with rising gas prices. The Biden administration bears some responsibility to that. Certainly, the crisis that's taken place with Russia and Ukraine is a factor in that. There's no disputing that.
All right, General Jack Keane, thanks for joining us. Great insights. It's good to have you on.